I'm Justin Davis, and this is Drone Camps RC. Good afternoon. Welcome back to the Drone Camps channel. I am still making drone reviews right here on the channel, so if you enjoy FPV content, click subscribe and get into it because we're one of the few channels out there that are still making drone and FPV content for you guys and all the new releases that are coming up. And today I'm happy because we have something brand new from BetaFpv. They are kicking out the releases this fall, and yeah, I know it's becoming fall more and more all the time. But we're going to be flying indoors a little more often, so this one will be kind of timely right now. It's the BetaFpv Pavo Pico II. It's the second edition of the Pavo Pico. It is a little bit bigger than the Femto that you guys saw previously on the channel. This one can run 2 and 3S, and it is that sort of micro brushless sweet spot around 2 to 3S battery. And I say convertible because it does have two top plate options for camera mount and VTX. You can either do DJI 04 Pro on there, which is this mount that I have on, and run it 2 and 3S. And then you can also put the smaller DJI 04 Lite one on there and lighten it up and do a little more freestyle and still be able to record in 4K. Pretty cool. So we can get around a 5-minute flight time with this one with a 2S 750 milliamp battery, which we're going to run today with our XT30 on the back. And I'm trying out some of those new lava batteries which BetaFpv sent us, and we're flying it on the TX15 from Radio Master that I'm giving away this month, or actually next month, coming up October 20th. It is a 2.4 and a 915 ELRS radio, so it comes with the case, and all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe, and you'll be entered to win that one. I'm going to do a live stream, and I'm going to pick out a winner that is a subscriber on the channel. So make sure you're subscribed, like, comment, and let me know where you're from, and you'll be entered to win. Super simple to get into that one. So I'm looking forward to giving this one away. But without further ado, I think we should go outside together and we should fly the Pavo Pico II. A whole bunch of fun and around 110 grams with a 2S 720 milliamp battery on board. So pretty lightweight and all the performance that you'd expect. Here we go. All right, guys, Pavo Pico II on the channel today with the 04 Pro on there. And again, if you want to make it lighter, just use the other canopy that you can put the light on. And then if you wanted to freestyle, if you want it to be a lightweight park flyer freestyler, that's the way to go. But if you want to do some kind of, still some pretty great freestyle, you can put the 04 on there if that's what you have, the 04 Pro, and you can get exactly what you're seeing here. So this is with my ND filter on board, so maybe it's reducing some of the vibes that you're seeing in the goggles DVR, but this is straight up goggles DVR. I'm not trying to hide anything here. This is the tune on here, and in all my flight tests, I did see one little bit of shutter right there when I did that quick yaw snap. And I'm going to go up a little higher here to the horizon in a little bit, and I'm going to show you what it looks like from the horizon view, and that's where you can really see a lot of jello. So, so far, it's really, really, it's nice handling around. It's performing really well. And I'm rocking about 30 degrees worth of tilt here. So I am ripping around the park and this is kind of amazing because there's a 2S battery. And I feel like this kind of speed is crazy for something that's only 80 millimeters. So we're going to slow it down just a little bit on this next battery. And if you want to get like a 5 to 6 minute flight time like BetaFpv is saying you can get, you probably need to put like a 3S, say 700 milliamp on there, or a 2S 750. But this is where you can see the real tune on this quad. No jello, way up high, going straight. And we're just kind of cruising and exploring back into a nice, long, slow dive back down to the grass here in the park. Really nice and controlled. And, you know, for something as small as an 80 millimeter whoop, that's pretty solid. And again, I can do some mild freestyle. And on the 2S, I have to mention, like, if you're flying this, doing freestyle with the 04 Pro on there, it has a lot more weight than the light version. So I don't really recommend this particular setup for freestyle. It's more like mild, slow freestyle. kind of like what you see here, like what we used to call slow flow back in the day, kind of freestyle, but slowed down. So if you want to go wild and crazy, put the light on there. And I was really hoping that I wasn't going to crash, you guys, right here. Coming out and exploring the marsh. I really don't want to walk out in the marsh. And, you know, right now you're seeing video that doesn't have any of the Rocksteady 2.0 on there. So it is what you get out of the box right here with BetaFpv stock tune. And what I'll do is I will upload this CLI to our website, dronecamps.com, and the CLI library. So if you ever lose it, you can come back. And if you're watching this video a year from now, we'll have it on our website for you to download if you lost all your settings. Because they're not like DJI drones. When you update the firmware on these, you lose all the settings. So new guys need to know that stuff. But it's fun because it's so tiny at 80 millimeter, but it's bigger than the Femto. So I'm getting kind of a more reliable, almost easier for beginners than the Femto feel, because it's more stable and it feels like it's a little slower, but flying more on rails, so to speak. And right there, I'm able to kind of spot my gaps and go in through some really tight gaps with the DJI FPV system on there, which is freaking great. It's a lot easier to see things off in the distance and spot your gaps and make your lines with the DJI FPV system. And look at that nice little lens flare on my ND filter. That's pretty cool. So I'm going to dive back down to the surface again. Nice little dive. Not bad. Guys, welcome back from the flight test. On the scale with the 2S 550 milliamp battery, it is 110 grams total takeoff weight with the O4 Pro. And the PAVO Pico II by itself, no battery on it, is 80.5 grams. Now let's talk about the quad itself. It is an 80 millimeter motor to motor design. Being a little bit bigger, a little more power in the 1102 motors just makes it a little more freestylable. And it also has this same type of carbon spar, but they did reduce the jello in this frame design. What they did on this version was they put these larger groms in where the camera mounts and the VTX mounts to the top of the frame here. So it just gives it a little more vibration dampening in the front and the back. And you have your kind of overslung camera right here in the front, just past the front of the prop guards right here. The camera does stick out. So I always recommend that you guys use some type of ND filter on the front. But again, you have two options to be able to run that smaller DJI Lite camera mount on here, and it will probably be better freestyler, but this way it's going to be a better sort of a cinema rig if you're looking to do like indoor real estate videos, or say a fly through in a business or something like that, and record 4K at 60 frames per second. That would be nice. In the back, I have the two dipoles that come off the back of the O4 Pro. We have the USB port back here, which is included in the box. It's just a little adapter that comes from the flight controller out to a USB-C to get into Betaflight. And this frame, it's looking pretty good. It is a carbon frame. It does appear to be about 2 millimeter. It has two side struts, which are going to give it a little more rigidity, again, giving it a little more support and less vibrations to the camera from the flight controller. And we have inverted motors on this quad as well. And those motors are the Lava series motors. They're 1102 14,000 kV motors. And they look very similar to the ones we've seen before, but they're just going to give you a little more power on this particular one versus something like the Femto. They do also have 3 screws on the bottom holding each motor in. So you can put a tiny little dab of Loctite on that if you want to, just to make sure these little screws don't fly out. Now, as far as the propulsion system on here, the propellers have been designed specifically for the PAVO Pico II series. BetaFpv got with Gemfan and designed this 45 millimeter 3-blade prop, and it's kind of cool. They have 4 different flavors here. They've got this clear blue, they have some smoke gray here, they have the jet black, and they have white. So I had fun with just kind of mixing them up on the bottom of my quad to give it a little more fun look to it. And you can see these are push-on props, so when you put them on, just make sure that you have them right side up and they push up into the motor stem. No hardware needed, which is kind of nice. They're not powerful enough that they're going to throw these off. And again, make sure you buy the 1.6 millimeter versions of these props. Now, where we're getting all the extra power from too is the F4 flight controller on here. It does have the option for these plug and play motors. So if you burn out a motor, you can just plug a new one in. They're not soldered to the board, which makes it nice and user friendly. But where the power comes from for 2 and 3S on this quad is the 20 amp ESC. So that is pretty cool. This is a brand new flight controller, and it is the version 1 of this one. And again, it is ready for HD. It's just pretty much plug and play right straight into your O4. And mine's sitting a little extra low because I snipped off the bottom of my battery cage. It has 2 vertical posts that come off each side, which kind of constrict you to this particular size battery. And if I want to get a little bit larger on there, say like a 650 or a 720, which I did fly and it flew just fine. I didn't notice a lot of difference as far as weight and performance. I needed to snip those off, and that way you can put a strap through here and just get a little bit bigger battery on this quad for a little longer flight time. So overall, I mean, I'm pretty happy with it. I do like flying it on 3S a little bit better than 2S, but if you want to make sort of smoother, straight ahead, stabilized cinema videos, fly this one on the 2S 550. It would be perfect. If you want to rip and do freestyle with it, and if you're kind of trying to be careful with your O4 right now, that's probably not a super good idea. But you could fly it on 3S and do some freestyle ripping. Just make sure you have an ND filter or a UV cover on the front of your O4 Pro so you don't break it. A lot of people are also concerned with the durability of the O4 Lite. So if you're flying the smaller version, you might want to be super careful with that camera. I have broken them myself, so watch out for that. The ribbon cable on the back of the cameras are super fragile. So some people are putting a little bit of extra electronic glue on the back side of that cable to make sure that it doesn't get moved or bumped or broken. So gear is pretty tight right now, and if you're able to find an O4 out there, I would be surprised. I think there's still some on eBay, but they are drying up pretty quickly out there. So, hold your O4s close and try not to break them because it is hard to get our camera replacement right now. Now is never been a better time to buy some ND filter kits. So I'll try to find some ND filter kits for the O4s and the Lite if I can find those as well. Cover those cameras up, be careful with them. But I think going into the fall in 2025, this would be a fun one because you can fly indoors when it gets cold and wet and rainy and snowy outside. And if you decide to do it for work, you could also use this one for pro cinema shots indoors. It absolutely flies very stable with the inverted motors, and that's the whole point of the inverted motor setup on a Cinewhoop. From the beginning of time for quadcopters, the inverted motor setup has just been more stable for cinema style stuff. Yeah, more of the freestyle quads have the upward facing motors, but in this case, this one's all about just going out and getting some awesome film. And I have to say, like as far as the performance goes, when I cranked the camera tilt up to about 30 degrees, this thing was a ripping around the field. So you can go super, super fast. You can do freestyle with it, and you can do cinema with it. And the crazy thing is that the O4 Pro on here is 110 grams with the 2S 550. Kind of insane that it's that light. And it's pretty cost effective too. So you can get these kits, add your own O4 on there, and build it up within about 15 minutes. It's pretty quick. So let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'm super happy that BetaFpv is supporting the community still and hanging in there on the hobby side of the FPV drone thing, because it seems like everybody's going private these days and doing all this military stuff. So it is cool to see hobby companies still hanging on to the whole point of the FPV community, which is fun, in my opinion. FUN is what it's all about. But I'll continue to bring you more videos, guys. Please do keep supporting us. If you want to, grab yourself a hat, a t-shirt off the website, or check out what's new in our FPV store. We always have brand new stuff on there. Maybe, who knows, maybe this kit will show up on the website too. Just refresh the page to see what's new. But again, I appreciate you hanging out and watching my reviews. Take care, and I will see you on the next one.